Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a question. For the Sisters players today, what is going on here? And no, I understand you probably think I mean the fact that you're at the bottom. Not quite. Um, there's things here, and two of them, yeah, not looking too hot. But I want to talk about the thing that's not here. I don't understand what is the aversion to you all's best detachment? Not Bringers of Flame. So while everybody claimed Bringers of Flame was the bee's knees, and don't get me wrong, it definitely was strong and did cover some of the army's weaknesses. I want to talk about this detachment today. Army of Faith. You see, Stephen Box pretty much carried this in the background while nobody was paying attention. Everybody was so focused on, oh my gosh, I got assault and I can get a bonus and it's great. Okay? And we saw the impact of Bringers of Flame. But now that Bringers of Flame has been taken down several notches, I want to know why you all have gone back to Hollowed Martyrs. And even trying Penitent Host a little bit more. Meanwhile, something that was just as good and is probably your best attachment now has been left in the dust. You have first, second, third, and fourth all together in just one because nobody's playing it. And I understand the idea. Well, it asks me for my detachment rule to have miracle dice so I can use miracle dice more. And if I don't have miracle dice, I can't do acts of faith. However, I do implore you all once more, the same way I have for champions of faith, to remember it says that you can. Not that you have to, just that you can. But why would I say that Army of Faith is your best attachment? Well, three of the enhancements give you miracle dice, and the fourth one is a pretty good shout. Litanies of Faith for 10 points. Take a leadership test, so no harm, no foul if you fail. Gain a miracle dice if you pass. Okay. Blade of St. Eleanor. Precision. In addition, each time the bear fights, if one or more enemy models are destroyed by those attacks, gain a miracle dice for 15 points. And Divine Aspect. In your movement phase, you can select one enemy unit within a foot of the bearer. No line or sight required. That unit must take a Battle Shock test. If that test is failed, you gain one miracle dice and they're Battle Shocked for 5 points on any Sisters model. Well, of course, characters, but you understand. So for 30 points, you can get 3 Miracle Dice and a turn? Okay. And the last one, Triptych of the Macarian Crusade, 20 points. Each time the bearer uses an act of faith to substitute a saving throw. That saving throw is successful irrespective of the value of the miracle dice used. Alright, so for 20 points, your saves, if you use a miracle dice to make sure that it goes through. That's not too bad either. But looking at the stratagems on top of that. Now, Shield of Faith, it's whatever. 5 up, feel no pains for mortal wounds. Okay, fine, whatever. However, with Blinding Radiance, you can target a sister's unit and give it -1 to hit. And if you target a sister's jump pack unit, a 3-inch aura around that unit of -1 to hit for 1 command point. That's pretty damn good. You see, the other thing that I'm slowly trying to understand is I get it, you've been using Miracle Dice for quite some time as your resource. But command points are everybody's resource. And right now I'm looking at a fair few amount of stratagems to use that not only, well, we'll get to what they can give you on your other resource, but work. They work pretty damn well. Light of the Emperor, command phase, one Sisters unit. Again, there's no restrictions on this, besides you playing Sisters. Unit, 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 unit. Jump pack. We'll talk about that. But for Light of the Emperor, ignore mods for a unit. And again, if you target a jump pack, 3-inch aura of ignore mods. That's really fucking good. For one command point, an aura of ignore mods. Okay. Divine Guidance. One command point, plus 1 AP for a sister's unit during the shooting or the fight phase. If one or more enemy models are destroyed, gain a miracle dice. So, plus 1 AP if you kill a model, gain a miracle dice? For one command point, shooting or fight phase? Alright. Faith and Fury. Lance. Sister's unit. One or more enemy models destroyed, gain a miracle dice. So, one thing that I've come to understand from Sisters players is that you don't have too many tank busting options. However, now you have Lance, which lets you punch up. For example, since we're talking about Army of Faith and Jump Pack Sisters, Zephyrum, for the cost of one command point and a miracle dice, that you'll probably get back given what I'm about to say, you get a squad with Sustain, Lethals, and Lance? Yeah. Outside of Morvenn Vahl, that's pretty fucking decent. Angelic Descent. End of your opponent's fight phase, Jump Pack Sisters, uppy downy. Fine for one command point. You need that to score. Well, you don't need that, but it's pretty damn nice to score points. So we're looking at 5 out of 6 stratagems being pretty solid, 4 out of 4 enhancements, and an okay detachment rule. One weak stratagem, or I shouldn't even say weak, one hella conditional stratagem. And nobody's playing Army of Faith right now. You still get Miracle Dice playing the game. You still get Miracle Dice starting the game. You can do this. You can do this, Army of Faith. I have faith. Army of Faith can be the one. But now let's talk about some units that I just found interesting that I don't. Some of them you see often. I do want to get the juggernauts in here, but I did want to just discuss a couple of things here. Starting with Morvenn Vahl. I already said it, but Morvenn Vahl and Paragon Warsuits putting the Lance and Lance of Illumination so that each time this model unit is selected to shoot or fight, you can discard one miracle dice. If you do, until the end of the phase, add 3 to the attacks characteristics of the Lance of Illumination for what I'm about to talk about. Each time an enemy unit is destroyed by this model, you gain 1 miracle dice. So plus 3 attacks, Lance, devastating wounds. Yeah, that sounds pretty gross. And if you kill a model, you get a miracle dice from the stratagem. And if this, or not each time you kill a model, if you kill a model, you gain a miracle dice. And if the unit gets wiped by Morvenn Vahl, gain a miracle dice. So for the price of 1 miracle dice, you got 2, so a net gain of 1. And a command point, you got 3 attacks and Lance, devastating wounds. And while leading a unit, reroll hits and reroll wounds. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. But, you know, assuming that it is a monster or vehicle, and you're attached to Paragon warsuits, you get +1 to hit, +1 to wound. So you don't need the lance. But to that point, if you have +1 to hit, +1 to wound, reroll hits, reroll wounds, discard a miracle dice for +3 attacks, and then, oh, I don't know, maybe +1 AP? Yeah, it seems like something will go down. So, of course, got to get that out the way. Zephyrum, probably the jump pack unit. Like I said, for the cost of a miracle dice and charging, sustained hits lethals, lance, gain miracle dice. So basically refund the miracle die you would spend on the Zephyrum squad to activate both sustained and lethals. That's pretty nice. And their jump pack, so all the things that if you target a jump pack elicit an aura, yeah, you can do that with Zephyrum. Pretty nice. Now to a fallen saint. The Triumph of Saint Catherine, 250 points. Expensive now. At the start of the battle round, select up to 2 of the abilities on the left, and each time you gain a miracle dice at the start of the battle round, if this model is on the battlefield, don't roll a d6, you just get a 6. Fine, fair enough. So, if you don't have to worry about taking Ebon Chalice, now I understand not everybody was going for that one anyway, but now you have that as the detachment rule. You can then pick maybe +1 AP for melee, and then stack that with +1 AP in the shooting or fight phase. So, fight phase. +2 AP in the fight phase for a command point and having Triumph of Saint Catherine. Maybe Lance +1 AP. And technically, it doesn't have the restriction that you can't stack these. So if you have 2 command points and something really has to go with AP, like you catch a vehicle out that doesn't have an info save, yeah, that's +2 AP, including the Saint Catherine, Triumph of Saint Catherine. That's +2 AP Lance, and getting 2 miracle dice out of it for 2 command points, of course. But that's a price I'm willing to pay. Maybe not the Triumph of St. Catherine price alone, but it's worth consideration. Wow, there's the fact that I can use 2 acts of faith thanks to the detachment, so +1 to advance and charge rolls made for that unit. If there's a unit like can't remember Mortifier or Penitent Engine, which of the two advance and charge, well, you know, roll hot on the advance, roll hot on the charge with Miracle Dice and the Fiery Heart. Yeah, I think you're getting into combat with whatever you actually want it to. So, Triumph of St. Catherine, I know, has fallen out of a lot of lists, but maybe it's time for a comeback. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with you leaving it there as a Tyrannage player, but hey, just saying. Dialogus, this one was interesting because, you know, I started to write off as soon as I read, you know, Battle Shock unit within a foot, not Battle Shocked. I know people find that handy sometimes. It's whatever. And I started to go to the next thing, but then while this model is leading a unit, each time this model's unit performs an act of faith, the value of the miracle dice used in that act of faith is first changed to a 6. And it's each time this model's unit performs an act of faith. So, with, of course, the detachment rule for Army of Faith, that means, twice per phase, a Dialogus's unit can use a 6. Alright, fair enough. So naturally, I have to go look to see what can possibly abuse this. And it can be attached to a Battle Sister squad, even if one Canonesh, Palatine, Junitharutia, or Astrathurga is attached. But, I didn't go that option right now. I just noticed that the Retributor squads, twice per battle, after this unit has performed an act of faith, you gain one miracle dice. And, well, we might as well talk about the other part. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. If such an attack targets an enemy unit that has destroyed one or more Adepta Sororitas units from your army during the battle, you can reroll the wound roll instead. So reroll wounds, twice per battle, act of faith, refund, maybe plus 1 AP at the range shooting. Not to say that you need to go out your way for it. We're talking about a Retributor squad, but hell, you can. And yeah, uh, that seems pretty decent. Now, there's something to be said about 25 points per model. How much you value that is, up to you. I'm just here to say that it looks like a decent enough synergy, maybe points allowing, that Dialogus, Retributors, and Army of Faith, maybe for a little razzle dazzle besides the Zephyr squad or Morvenn Vahl, could work out for somebody. Could work out for somebody. Twice per battle, not, per phase or per turn, per round, twice per battle overall. But how long do you expect sister squads to be there anyway? So, there's that to say. Going on to the Mortifiers. Now, in this detachment, you have the possibility of Mortifiers being T6, 3 up save, 6 up invuln, 5 wounds, 5 up feel no pain, possibly attaining, -1 to hit, and Lance on Strength 10, Penitent Buzzsaws, Buzz Blades, excuse me, sustained hits, twice per phase, twin linked. I'm not saying that 4 attacks is enough all the time to get damage through, but it doesn't look too bad to increase your chances of trying to take something down that really needs to be taken down. AP3, maybe you need to take that to AP4. Maybe that's the thing that puts you over the finish line. But just saying, for 70 points a model, this can get a little bit. This can punch up, is basically what I'm saying. 70 points a model with the possibility of bonus AP taking AP to 4 if there's a target to be had, or taking your strength 10 weapon, giving it +1 to wound essentially with Lance. And if somebody tries to crack back, 5 up feel no pain, 3 up save, -1 to hit. Yeah, I like those odds for only 70 points while still having twin heavy bolters. You know, worth looking into. Immolator, Castigator, Exorcist. You gotta talk about the trifecta, and that's where we'll finish this off. With the Immolator, you have, oh, I don't know, maybe twin multi-meltas, into which you can increase that AP to AP5, damage D6, but more likely you're taking the Flamers, right? Into which you have the possibility of 2d6, 621, ignore cover, and then remove cover. And if there's cover removed, you go ahead with the Castigator. Now, maybe you didn't put that bonus AP onto the Immolator. Maybe you put it on the Castigator. Therefore, after the Castigator has shot, you can improve the AP of the next person to shoot after the Castigator has shot. I'm sorry, I should read it. Immolator, in your shooting phase, after this model has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of the phase, enemy unit cannot have the benefit of cover. Castigator, in your shooting phase, after this model has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of the turn, each time a friendly sister's unit makes a ranged attack that targets that enemy unit, improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. The same enemy unit can only be affected by this ability once per turn. 170 points. Maybe you throw the bonus AP onto the Castigator after you've stripped the cover and benefit of cover um, with the Immolator. And then the next person shooting whatever target, if it really needs to, just a couple of wounds off, gets bonus AP from the Castigator. And maybe if that person is, or that situation is an Exorcist, there you go. In your shooting phase after this model has shot, if one or more of those attacks made with an indirect fire weapon scored a hit against an enemy unit, that unit must take a battle shock test. Each time an attack destroys an enemy model that has the Deadly Demise ability, that model's Deadly Demise ability inflicts mortal wounds on a d6 roll of 5 up instead of a 6. So, Exorcist. A little bit pricey. A little bit pricey. But in this detachment, we don't even have to go with the step of the immolator, but we could. After shooting something with the castigator, whatever you want to exorcist, right? Exercise. Give this plus 1 AP, and that means that you're taking your AP 3 to AP 5. That's that's pretty alright if you ask me. That's pretty alright. So, I think Army of Faith gives you pretty much your breadth of choices. Do you want to take the things that we already know kind of work for you all? Yeah, I think you can do it. Do you want to take something funky that maybe people haven't quite taken in a while? Yeah, I think it's worth trying. Hell, you're trying Penitent Host. But if you want to do tried and true, you can do tried and true here. Now, they won't get the benefit of Lance, but, you know, if Immolator, Castigator, Exorcist takes care of anything that doesn't need Lance, and then Morvenn Vahl and the Paragon Warsuits or Zephyr Squad pop out to take care of it. Yeah. And even going over to Stephen Box's list, it's changed. He was able to switch out a couple of things throughout most of this. There were options abound on this that I was pretty impressed by. And it's just like, well, maybe I feel like using Zephyr again. Maybe I want to take him out, one Seraphim squad. And then we go over to Thomas's. A Magifier. Arcoflagellants. Still has room to ally in a Calidus Assassin. So, you know, I think that Stephen Box got away with just being the only person really believing in Army of Faith was absurd to me. I could not believe what the fuck I was watching. I was like, I get it. Everybody else is riding the meta hype train of Bringers of Flame. But you've got to be kidding me that nobody is trying Army of Faith right now. So, yeah. I don't know what's going on there, and I don't know what's going on here. So, hey. If you like the video, like it. Got a comment from me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.